there you have it, President Cyril Ramaphosa and his Chinese counterpart Xi Jinping now meeting the South African delegation as part of this official state visit to the country. Once again, if you've just joined us, we're told of a major announcement on trade, investment and other things expected sometime later on today. Global political issues certainly top of the agenda for many of these delegates, let's call them, who are going to be involved in these multi-sectoral engagements. The agriculture minister there, John Steenhuisen, we can see it seems like a joke was cracked there with Public Works Minister Dean McPherson. President Cyril Ramaphosa is going to have this engagement just before the China-Africa Cooperation Summit kicks off on Wednesday, we're told, where there's going to be 50 heads of states from the African continent who are going to meet with President Xi Jinping in that country. I wonder if we're able to take in the sights and sounds from what's taking place there, which is always something worth considering. So let's just dip in for you, get your sense of the mood in the room in Beijing. All right, so those are live visuals coming from the Great Hall in Beijing. That's where we anticipate the official start, if you like, of this bilateral engagement between South Africa and China. In frame there, you can see the two leaders of the country, our President Cyril Ramaphosa and his counterpart Xi Jinping, as they observe, I guess, what is characteristic of these kind of engagements, the kind of pomp and ceremony that precedes the very important discussions that are likely to take place behind closed doors before we are told of these great announcements, which I've been alluding to for much of the morning. The Chinese military, of course, known for their unbelievable synchronicity. I mean, there is just this unparalleled sense of organization and preparation, I suppose, for lack of a better term. And that's all on display today as we watch these two heads of states observe, as I mentioned, what is expected as per tradition before they have these discussions. There's been all kinds of discussions around what South Africa should bring to the table as part of these talks, and there are hopes of a major focus on agriculture, for example, in order to ensure that we're able to boost our own returns as China looks to expand its own foothold in Africa generally speaking, and I imagine in South Africa strategically. It seems there's also a whole lot more of a chanting, uncharacteristic, dare I say, for China. Let's continue listening in. Live visuals once again, they're coming out of the Great Hall in Beijing. That all-important meeting between South Africa and China is set to officially get underway. The pomp and ceremony has been done and dusted. Always quite the spectacle, but now I suppose it's about getting down to business. Several ministers from South Africa, I imagine, will also want to make sure that their own sectors are prioritized. There are hopes that whatever emerges from this will have a huge impact, especially for small businesses. We saw there the Small Business Minister, Stella Ndabeni-Abrahams, present. Cyril Ramaphosa has also been spotted, as well as the Agriculture Minister, John Steenhuisen. Always very interesting, of course, to see how these bilateral engagements unfold and ultimately what they mean for the ordinary person on the street. If you're trying to connect the dots insofar as that is concerned, stick around. We'll certainly break it down for you within the hour.